Hello everyone, and welcome to the Bard Cave, and another episode of Painting While Hasted, the time-lapse miniature painting videos. Today's miniature is a Blue Slaad from Nolzur's Marvellous Miniatures, and I'll be using their paint sets, the Adventure paint set, the Underdark paint set, and the Monster paint set, and I'll be using the Army Painters Battlefields basing set. The base colour will be Lich Blue. Makes sense. A nice rich blue for the base colour of this Slaad. So I recently purchased some Vallejo washes, so I was very excited to try the blue wash on this figure to really get those saturations in blue. I was a bit limited with some of the washes that you receive in the Marvellous Pigments paint sets, as you only get a flesh wash, a shadow wash, and a brown wash. So I was very excited to try these out, and I was not disappointed. Really excellent job to create some saturation with the blue. So now I'm going in with this Dungeon Stone Grey. I felt like this is the colour the mouth needed to be. Black's too obvious, red also a bit too obvious. I felt this grey was the right amount of contrast to the blue, and also it's just something a bit different and maybe a bit unsettling. So after I finished the grey, I washed it with the Vallejo black. And I really felt like this created a disturbing colour mouth, which is accurate. I'm now going in with Abyssal Black to colour all the protrusions and spikes, claws, and toenails. So, a little bit about the Blue Slaad. It is a large aberration. They are considered chaotic neutral. They have magic resistance, which gives them advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. They can also regenerate. They regenerate 10 hit points at the start of its turn, if it has at least 1 hit point. It attacks with multi-attack. It makes 1 bite attack and 2 claw attacks, and the claw attacks force the players to make a constitution saving throw or be infected with a disease called Chaos Phage. I think that's how you pronounce it. And what this does is it reduces the maximum hit points of a player by 10 every 24 hours. And once it reduces the hit point maximum to 0, that player will transform into a Slaad. So while the player is diseased but not transformed, you could probably use something like Lesser Restoration to cure 1 disease. But once that person has transformed into the Slaad, only a wish spell can reverse that transformation. So it is quite a terrifying monster, challenge rating 7. So yeah, that's something. I think it'd be really fun to play with the mechanics of maybe the players don't understand that the scratches have caused them to carry this disease, and only upon realizing they can't regain hit points, they realize something's wrong, and then they have to maybe make some checks, some arcana checks or some nature checks, or find out what it is that's wrong with them in order to find this cure. So I saw some artwork for a Blue Slaad online, and it gave them this kind of toxic green highlight, as though light was bouncing off of their skin, and it was like almost toxic, almost slime-like, or maybe they were stood in front of some murky swamp water, and I thought it was a really cool contrast and a really cool effect. So I wanted to try this green flame as a dry brush highlight to try and get a similar effect. So now I'm going in with another highlight of Lawful White, just to pick up some areas around the green, but hope not to be as prominent, and also to catch the edges with an overpaint on the claws and spikes. So now I'm going in with Angelic Yellow. Again, on this artwork I saw online, the light source was coming from the top right-hand side of the Slaad, and it created this really cool effect on its like left-hand side and its head and shoulders. So I wanted to try and recreate that as much as I could on the figure, and also to use on the eyes of the Slaad as well. So I'm going in with my smallest brush, a 00 brush, or 00 brush. And also overpainting on the claws with yellow on its left side. At this point I reintroduced some blue wash to kind of go into some of the darker areas that I'd slightly overpainted with the yellows and greens. So now I'm going in with skeleton bones to catch the teeth within the mouth of the Slaad, which honestly I thought would be bigger. Most of the artwork depicts them with really large, sharp teeth, but on the figure themselves they're kind of these small nuggety things. I'm using the Dungeon Stone Grey that I used earlier on the base. So now I'm using the larger wood chip pieces from the Army Painter base set, and just with super glue, just creating a large kind of rocky terrain. Right now, of course, it looks like wood, but I do go over it with the Dungeon Stone Grey once all the glue is dried. And there we have it, the Blue Slaad with this toxic green highlight. I also went in with some super glue in the mouth to try and give it a drool effect. I don't have any hot glue. It kind of didn't get the right effect. It kind of went a bit chalky and a bit dusty, but that's fine. So let me know in the comments about any encounters you've had with the Slaad and how your players dealt with it, or how you as a player dealt with it when your DM threw it at you. Thanks again for joining us at the Bard Cave and another episode of Painting While Hasted, and we'll see you soon.